Let's talk about some tourism.
Moisture?
Nobody likes that word moist. Let's just state that. You know that's on the list.
Now he's going to get demonetized.
Yep. You're going to get sunset.
Not
You're gonna
not
get sunset.
monetized.
Yes.
You're going to get
Moisture
sunset.
replenished
Not
donkey kitty.
monetized
We don't use the
anyways.
word moist.
Volunteer.
That's
Moisture
normal.
replenish. Can't wait to get to glistening.
Let's talk about some tourism. Impact of COVID-19 pandemic on tourism. This is off of Wikipedia. This is pretty interesting to me. I actually saw this firsthand because I travel like every day. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the tourism industry due to the resulting travel restrictions, as well as slump in demand among travelers. The tourism industry has been massively affected by the spread of the coronavirus, as many countries have introduced travel restrictions in an attempt to contain its spread. Blah, 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 blah. It talks about the decrease by 58 to 78% in 2020, leading to a potential loss of up to $1.2 trillion in international tourism. In many of the world's cities, planned travel went down by 80 to 90%. I don't know if I need to go on.
Those are some big
There's travel
percentages.
bans. There's It talks about different places.
It definitely
know.
talked about the places that were hit harder.
Yeah.
Hardest, I guess, would be the right word.
Yeah.
And so I brought up this article, and if people haven't figured it out, we just got back from Jamaica last night, and
Nobody listens to this show anyway.
right, and
Tell by
that's
his
why I wanted to
braided
talk about this. And the resort, and we were very careful. We had to have COVID tests before we could leave the country. We had COVID tests when we were down there, provided by the resort. Thank God. And we were lucky that we were able to go on a vacation this year, and it didn't really hit us till we got into the airport of how quiet, how ghost town everything is. I mean, our resort was, numbers floated around of like 7 to 13% of their normal occupancy, which means that their staff's hours are cut. And, the resort is owned by a billionaire. I'm assuming the owner can absorb this, but what about the locals that are employed? And
I got to interrupt you. You think that that's a ghost town right now? With the height of this, it wasn't 7 to 13%.
Oh, absolutely not. There were
And
resorts that
was-
were closed for a year.
I was on planes that, we're talking 737s and A321s, and one of them was almost a 300 passenger or 250 passenger plane. I was literally the only person on it.
That would be so
Literally.
weird.
Other than
Wow.
other
That would
than
be weird.
the
attendants.
flight
Staff.
attendants and
Did you feel?
hopefully the
Did you feel
pilots
pretty
were in
good?
there,
Like
but-
they offered you extra peanuts? What'd you get?
you couldn't have anything.
No.
No, you can't. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Very
can
limited
now.
service.
Yeah.
Not zero. There was zero service at
No
first.
hot towel?
Nothing.
No.
Well, for Matt.
Nothing.
they did
Flying.
something.
Yeah, I know,
Nothing.
right?
They usually let me fly the plane. No, but,
It's-
no, but there was literally nothing. I mean, you would go into a hotel and there'd be 2 or 3 people in 4 floors. I mean, you would go into. I was in Atlanta. Have you ever been in the Atlanta airport? Anybody? You know how busy that is, and shoulder to shoulder. Literally, I could see 10 people down one whole.
Concourse.
So was
nuts.
that weird for you guys, or was it
It's-
refreshing? What was it? Because I've been in
It's-
really huge, busy airports, and it's so chaotic, and the anxiety's there. So, what did it feel like for you
I would
guys?
go and I would call it like Biden's press secretary. Let's circle back to the zombie apocalypse. It literally is like
It felt weird.
It was scary.
this is
like,
nuts.
who's coming out of the woodwork?
As a traveler, it was awesome because we literally stepped off the gate and we're out the front door of MSP in 20 minutes. Going through international customs. That does not happen. But it's not, yes, the big companies are taking it in the shorts, but it's the engine mechanics, the guys fueling the planes, the folks fueling the planes. It's the guys sweeping the beach, the bartenders, The restaurant workers,
The bartender.
all of the staff in the resorts and the hotels and the airports that they don't have jobs. They're not they're not working right now. They're just getting back to work. Most of the resorts in Jamaica, I think, were closed for 9 months to a year, and they're starting at 7%. And you can see it in the hotels. They're neglected maintenance because they can't pay these people to come in and maintain the places when there's nobody there to pay those bills. But these are people that are making 60, 70, 80 bucks a month. Right. So if you are able to travel and you do it safely, and the safety thing is, it's ingrained the entire trip. I've never used so much hand sanitizer in my life that I did in the last week. And everybody's wearing masks, and it's a little more lax at night, so you need to be a little stiffer about that at night. But if you can afford to go on a vacation, bring extra money for the people that are there to survive.
I love that. That's great advice.
$5 to us made a guy cry.
Right.
It was a $5 bill, but that made his week.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
And it was
I had the opportunity. I could have went to Paris this summer or Germany.
Paris, not over the summer.
No, an opportunity, but unfortunately everything is in lockdown.
Yeah.
So it'll have to be next year. Even to go to Hawaii, you have to quarantine for 14 days, even going to Hawaii. So
their tourism is
right
1%
right now
in Hawaii. Yep.
Yeah.
I talked to somebody a few days ago, and they said that COVID test, you don't have to quarantine.
So if you have a COVID test,
you have to have
in Hawaii.
If you mean the
In Hawaii.
vaccination.
That's new then.
Bruce, book it.
Maybe, but that's what they said.
That's funny.
That's what they said. That's what they
Well,
said.
the next
Because
trip,
Hawaii was
I'm
You have,
coming
to have, you have to have a COVID test within 72 hours
Hope you like third wheel, Martha
of
May.
leaving to go to Hawaii.
When did that start? Because
I have no idea. That's just what I heard.
So back to your COVID test at the resort. Did you had it done there? Was that just a rapid one, or was that done?
Yep, it was. They had.
Was it the Chinese anal swab one?
We talked about that.
Unfortunately, no, it was not. Or fortunately, no, it was not.
Unfortunately. Oh, boy.
No, we didn't keister
Bloopers.
anything back. They had
Our producer's over there, and she has
edit.
she has to turn away. She's laughing so hard she doesn't want to be.
Oh, some people wanted that done for their own personal benefit.
Cameras
We did
and
not.
Bottoms up.
The microphones and stuff, and she's losing her crap over there, laughing so hard.
Bottoms up.
That was smart marketing by some of the resorts and it wasn't all of them, of when you come here, we will pay for your COVID test on site, and we had it back that night. And we were at a bigger resort, and they had buildings where if somebody came down with it, the resort would put you up in that building, and they would cover your quarantine time until you were safe to go back home. And they had nurses that were there doing the tests, and they were very organized about it. Here's the time you come in, and they went way above and beyond. But for us, that's why we chose that resort. So it was very smart for them. And we asked, have you had a lot of people with COVID? And he's like, well, I'm not going to lie. We have had people, not many, but they're being very proactive, because if they have an outbreak at their resort, they're done. Nobody will go to that resort.
Well, the reason I was asking that is we had some friends go to Aruba, and they were able to accept a rapid test. So they didn't do. We had friends that just went to Hawaii, and they needed to have.
Yeah, Hawaii.
It
I was
seems-
told that's
Hawaii's
not a rapid
extremely
test.
strict.
It's,
No.
you have
And
to have the
3-day
real deal. Yeah,
exactly. So that's why I was intrigued as for coming back again. They in Aruba, they were perfectly fine doing the rapid test, and they actually, I want to say, they did it at the airport. Even it was kind of crazy.
Oh yeah,
you could do it at the airport.
They do them at the airport.
Okay, so you could do it at the airport, or else you could do it. It was included in there, but then you had took 2 extra days or something. But
You need to do your homework. You need to
So you're
find
saying
out.
I can go to Hawaii then this year? That's what you're saying?
Well,
Do your homework and
do
find
your-
out
like,
what
yeah.
is acceptable and not.
Okay.
Because some places wouldn't accept Mayo Clinic's tests.
okay,
Oh, wow.
Where luckily my wife is in the biz, and she likes to do her homework on the stuff, and flying out of the country, we were okay with a Mayo test, and we did it 2 or 3 days before we left.
Do you want to say where you went? Like, let's give credit where credit deserves.
we
The
went to
staff
the-
sounds amazing.
We went to the Grand Palladium in Jamaica.
Jamaica. I mean,
Just
in case
west of
anybody
Hawaii.
has
Making me
any
crazy.
future vacation plans.
Well, maybe go there. I'll go there instead of Hawaii.
We're going to take our podcast there.
I
Yeah,
think that would
let's
be a
figure
great
it out.
idea.
That
But
would be
On
awesome.
the
we would
road
have to do it
with
early in
biscuits.
the morning. Just self-preservation of a clean show.
Not too early.
No, not too early. And not the first or second day. Those are throwaway days.
Did you have good weather? Did you have great weather?
we had great weather. It was windy.
I got to say, your pictures
but-
looked amazing. So.
I want to go to Jamaica because that's where the first Bond film was done.
Oh, I didn't
Dr.
know that.
No, yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was, you
A
know,
lot of
and
filming in Jamaica.
it was our second trip there. And
Goldeneye. is
you
in
have the
Jamaica.
stigma of everybody goes to Jamaica to get high and whatever. And it's just such a beautiful island. And you don't need to smoke because there's so much secondhand.
Oh,
You just
my
you're gonna get a contact. No,
But it sure
just
helps.
joking. But
It
it is
helps.
a beautiful island, and those people, the locals, are the most heartwarming, genuine people
Genuine.
I've ever met. They are just happy that we're there. They're not, whoa, Jamaicans hate Americans. No, they don't.
Can I
They
ask
they
your-
love us coming.
May I ask your opinion? Do you feel that this COVID, this pandemic, with tourism being down, do you feel they went above and beyond because of that, or do you feel that if tourism was high, they still would excel in that area? Like,
We were at a different resort last year, and I feel like the people, their
Pre-COVID?
attitudes pre-COVID, and I don't think that the service changed whatsoever.
Okay.
I
That's
think
good to
they
know.
were more appreciative this year because
right?
even though we went against the better judgment of what our government says, we still went, but we were cautious, and they're like, honestly, thank you.
you
for
mean you
coming
used
here.
common sense?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. But they were very happy that we were there to support them. And
Good.
I mean, it was self-beneficial. But yeah.
I would love to
If
just-
you're safe
Yeah.
and you're able to do it, make the trip. Life's too short to.
My only thought was
Shoulda,
like,
coulda,
of
woulda.
course, from this, I'm like, well, wow, now I want to know more. I'm like, so how are they surviving? Tourism is down. That's a large. So how are they surviving? Food.
Yep. So
Take care of those children.
we were told that their government, because they don't have Social Security, they don't have that
The
safety
social
net.
structure
Safety
is
net.
not the
It's
same.
completely different.
Yeah.
And I haven't been to a lot of other countries, but driving through, it feels like a third world country. And their government gave them $60 stipends for 3 months.
Oh,
That's
a
it.
wow.
And their average income for tourist workers or resort workers was like $70 to $100 a month.
Wow. Can I just say that? Wow.
So
Like,
$5
oh my goodness.
is huge.
Yeah, that's
Oh my gosh.
So like when we were leaving, we're like, oh, we have extra cash. Let's
definitely.
spread the love.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
Wow. I'm sitting here imagining we can't even rent a place. We can't, some of us can't pay our electricity bill with that amount of money per month. That is
Really bad.
amazing to me. And they're doing it.
and
They're
they are
surviving.
so happy. And it may have something to do with the ganja, but they are just genuinely happy. But the kids,
There.
That's a
couldn't
whole
be
new
happier.
article.
yeah, that's another episode. Maybe an on-site
I'm
article.
happy to hear you had a good experience.
Yeah, it was fun. It was great. Don't be scared to travel. Just be smart about it.
Common
Just do your
sense.
homework and make sure your tests are acceptable.
Nice.
Always be safe.
And tip accordingly. Be good to your
Tip
people.
accordingly.
You know,
Yeah.
even being down in Florida, like we talk about Minnesota nice, and I just couldn't get over to, I know it's a big hospitality state, but even just being down in Florida there last week and everything, everybody was really, really nice. Really, really nice. And, going back to hospitality.
because everybody
and
from
things like that.
Minnesota went down to Florida because we can't do anything.
I know. So they love us
Minnesota
all.
Nice was down in Florida.
So they love us all. They love us all.
Maybe we're just all just so thankful to just see people and to
Get out.
socialize and to have kind conversations. I think that we're all just sort of kind of craving
Needing.
that.
So,
craving
but
that.
Yes.
you kind of hit on something. There's a lot of these other pieces to the puzzle that most people, almost no people, think about. The people that work at resorts, the people that work at hotels, the people that are, even the flight attendants and pilots. There's a lot of them that had to take early retirements, or even these
Or the
what would
farms
not be
supporting the
considered
restaurants and the
entrance
resorts and-
type level positions.
Trickle-down
These
effect.
these
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely top-notch pilots are early retirements, all these things, and maybe that's good for them. I don't know, but the point being is that there's just so many things that are affected, and when I see these hardcore lockdowns in places like California. I've been there. The tent cities are getting bigger. I've seen, I mean, there's tents in Kansas City, and there's tents in Denver. And I mean, it's all over the place. It is not good. There are people, millions of people out of work still, millions and millions of them. And so just like this little teeny tiny podcast, the producer has over a dozen buttons and levers to push and twist and turn and try to keep the mics as best they can and the cameras and all those things. Nobody understands and sees that, right? That's happening. Just imagine at the scale when you take that into the real world. You know, there's a lot of things that are going on that you don't think about that affect so many people in such hard ways. So yes, even in the United States, tip people.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, all of it.
Yes.
We have got to do our part when and where we can. And that includes turning bright camera lights on
Yes.
and talking about some of the things that aren't being talked about from working class people. I have
The
been,
normal people. We're the
there's-
normal people.
There has been
Never been.
I'm not going to go
I
there.
beg to differ with you, Mark.
I named y'all the Misfits. There's a reason.
I want to know.
Normal misfit.
But the point is I get messages. Most of them are good, but I get really critical messages. Some of them are public. One of them I'm going to say that was public this last week is a gentleman on social media told us to stop flapping our jaws and get real jobs.
Ooh.
Wow.
And
Let's
so
have him
that was
come on the
public.
show.
I don't say the ones that are sent to me directly to pretty nearly anybody, but you know, there's some negative ones. But the thing that I'll say is I will communicate with anybody who wants to communicate with me. Period. If they want to call me, I've taken calls. I mean, all kinds of things. That's what it's about. It's about talking. It's about figuring out. Tell me more. Help me understand.
Yeah.
It's so important. But we're here as volunteers.
I think it would be really great if we all went around the room and said what our real jobs are. Because I think a lot
I'm
of
not
people
going to
don't.
do that because I'm working on some things.
Okay.
I talked about that with all of you. I'm working on trying to do some big thing that is related to my distracted driving work. So I'm not going to say what I do.
Got you. I just thought
Remember
it would be
that? Yeah.
important. Like I get it. Some people tune into this and they think this is
I'll
what
say
we
general. Yeah, I'll say general. I mean, but yeah.
do. Yeah, I just kind of mean like, hey, we do have lives outside of this, and
do.
we all have very important roles, whether it's professional or.
But you've taken this very seriously. Like each of you have.
We're doing our homework with it. It's
Yeah.
not just,
Right.
we don't just show up
Passion.
and Matt watered today's subjects. We're
I don't pick
investigating
the
this
subjects.
stuff.
We, in full disclosure, we each pick one subject.
Right.
Normally, we don't say which one it is that we've picked. Sometimes we do. That's okay. Either way, it doesn't matter. But the point is that this is relevant to people. The people that are sitting here, there's some very loyal listeners, and we thank you for that very much. But this is as real as it gets. We all work very hard. There's a lot to it.
It's a passion from the heart. It really is. I think just because for myself, this is getting our information and our side of the story and kind of breaking things apart for how the news has written things and picking things, but then putting our personal interest into it as well.
And I got some pretty massive pushback that we all think alike and we all agree so often and things like that. And I think the difference
so.
is that we disagree respectfully, and I think that's the difference to me. That's what I see, because I don't see that
No, and I think it's
that
kind of
we're-
refreshing that people
that we're all thinking the same.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that people don't see that. It's a beautiful thing that, we can be such different people and have such different backgrounds, but we can have really good conversation and be respectful of each other. And actually be interested in each other's perspectives. And I think that's what this is all about. We are speaking our opinions, our perspectives, but we're also resonating with others out there. And we know that. We are, as we had stated before, get comfortable with things being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, we are okay about that because we're speaking our perspectives, our opinions, our minds, but we're also speaking for others as well. Not necessarily, don't get me wrong, but, you know, some others can't express their opinion or this or that. And I don't know. I'm also a little different bird. I also sort of think outside of the box in the way of like what's not being said. You know, what is behind those words that are being said? I'm all about tone, body language, facial expressions. I take it all into consideration. This podcast has allowed all of us to be able to do so and express our opinions and our feels.
There's literally 3 significantly different political views sitting at the table right now out of 5 people. I don't know if you all even realize that.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the point of that. It doesn't matter. However, I've been accused by many people of that. Oh, y'all, you know, you're all right wing, or I mean, I've had many of those things, and so, you know, whatever. But the point is that I think we try to do things respectfully. Harmony, you and I have probably had the most communication, like out of everybody off the podcast. We had some words that were very different.
Everybody's all like, "What? You
remember?
did? You had words?
You remember that?
Was that when I was
covered
drinking?
up.
No. the mock podcast.
Oh yes, you know, and some of
I mean,
it's
this is
still a
quite a
blur,
while
but
ago
yeah,
now,
some
but-
of it's still a blur, but yeah, I mean, one of the things I've always been fascinated and love about you, Matt, is that you challenge people. You definitely, you know, you're not going to just be like, okay, say what you want to say or this, you know, you're like, you question people and you expect them to back up what they say. And as intimidating as that can be, I mean, it's important, and I love that about you.
Well, thank you. That's not what I was looking for. But
Okay.
No, just the
I
point
don't-
is that, and Lisa, you and I have personally had some
Yep. I find it
Hardcore.
annoying. No, I'm just kidding.
exactly hardcore.
Yes, here you
pushback.
are.
Here I am.
You know,
Yeah.
and things, but we can sit down and we can. I mean, I'm drinking water, but we can sit
drinking
down
water.
and have a drink and a meal and stuff, and
think
it's
there's water
good,
in
you
here.
know. And I don't know. I just felt like I needed to say some of that stuff because I want people to be critical.
You know, in this
I
day
want
and
them to
age,
be accurate.
in
Yeah.
this day and age where we've seen in the last year a lot of, firsthand for me, a lot of burning and
What's
looting
Jackie
and
doing over
rioting.
there?
She's licking furiously.
She's like, yeah. She's making all kinds of noise, Jackie.
Where we've
Jackie,
seen
stop. She's
people
like-
with their opinions, you know, burn and loot and riot and destroy things because they didn't agree with a decision or an outcome. They weren't respectful with that compared to the contrast with us of having, hey, why do you think that way? Or, hey, I respect your opinion about that, but that's your opinion, not my opinion. So where I've seen things firsthand where, you know, people have destroyed property and destroyed things because they didn't agree and they weren't respectful for that.
That's how we became a country. Anybody ever push back on you on that one? We became a country by war. Very bad war. The revolution.
Okay.
But here's the difference.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. 20 years they tried to work with the British. 20 years before that happened. 20 years of communicating back and forth and saying, this isn't working. And then they said, this is what we have to do.
So push came to shove.
Push came to shove, but there was a lot of communication and a lot of promises that weren't kept. So we became a nation because of war, because of pushback, because of violence. But there was a lot of effort put out there beforehand.
They
for a
exhausted
very long
other
time.
efforts prior
All
to
of
that.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just the point.
And I think we as in general people pigeonhole other people, and once you're under this title, well, then they stop listening to you. And I mean, my personal experience with the campaign last year was people said, "Oh, you're a Trumper." I'm like, no, I'm not. my opinion, we didn't have a good candidate on the ballot last year for president. I don't think either of them were the saving grace for our country. But if enough, it's that cancel culture. If a group of people says, well, you fit into this pigeonhole because we think this is what you believe, and then you're canceled. And I think this group, we are open to, like has been said, we're open to listening to each other. And I've heard opinions where I'm like, I never thought about it that way. But it's refreshing. And I don't know. I'm appreciative that we're able to speak freely and that we're all listening to each other.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing too. We're not asking anybody to follow or like you got to do it my way.
We're asking them to hammer the like button. Hammer the
We're
share button.
asking that. We're
That
asking that. But I mean, maybe one thing we say changes somebody's life. Maybe going back to the stories that we talked about whoever coming out because they were gay or not. Maybe somebody was watching or somebody's daughter was watching and said, I'm going to be okay because of that. So maybe we're making some people mad. Maybe we're not, but maybe we're changing lives. And if it's one person's life, that's worth changing.
For sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely. I have been offered significant opportunity, I'll word it, in the area of distracted driving if I did it their way. And I said bye-bye each time. Because it's, in my opinion, not the right way. And it's propaganda, and it's going one direction, and it's hateful, and it's shaming, and some of those other things. And that's exactly the point, is like more people, I think, need to understand that it is about whether you agree or disagree. It's about having that conversation for maybe 20 years. But it's also about like Andrew Cuomo and not being hypocritical. Stand for a principle. And I think that's what each of us at this table that we do. Our principles, our values are something.
Integrity.
It's something that we stand on, and that's something that doesn't deviate. But we'll listen, and maybe those values will be added to. Maybe those principles will be like, yeah, like you said, Craig, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
I'm going to add that to,
Tell me your reasoning and pitch me on why I should think differently.
Yes.
I'll listen. And there's been many circumstances where it's like, I didn't think about it that way, but you're right. In my opinion, I've changed my opinion by listening to other people. So
Anyway, we just want to be real.
Yep.
it's
We're
like a
speaking
big group
our
hug.
truth, and I think it's interesting that people have even issues with that phrase, speaking your truth. What's your truth? It's like we're being real here. It doesn't get any more than that. And we know we're being real because we're getting criticism.
Yes.
And that's how you know you're being real.
Yeah.
Yes.
People are
Did
fighting
you see
back.
the post today?
I didn't.
Was it today? Does anybody remember that Aristotle quote? That was today. There is only one way to avoid criticism.
Yes.
Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing.
Yes.
These quotes are really important to me because this is something that I'll just leave it at that. It's important to me to get that really good, solid foundation going in my day. And however, I am happy to say that my production team puts those together, all of them, and I don't even do them. I might approve one or two, or I might come across something, I really like this, and send it, but they're scheduled out a month in advance or more. And so it's really interesting, the timing on some of these sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They are good.
wow. Yeah, it's just powerful stuff. Harmony, what do you do?
In my free time?
No. You wanted to talk about what we do.
Oh, what do we do when we're not in front of the camera? So I work for Cardinal in Minnesota. I take care of individuals with behavioral disabilities. And I like to state that because it just, disabilities in general are, an amazing thing. But behavioral disabilities takes a different spin on it. It's the psychological part of it. Love what I do. It's different every day. And I'm very proud of the company I work for and the clients that I take care of. And I've been doing it for a while now. So I love my job. That's my background. And when I'm not doing that, I'm sharing memes. I'm on Facebook and I'm making people laugh. I like to call myself, which is weird because I'm very much avoidant of labels. But if I had to give myself a label, I'd be a heart and soul influencer. I'm all about making this world a little bit better every day as I heal myself.
Nice.
Nice. Lisa, you've already talked about what you do, so you're out. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Go for it.
I'm owner of Salt and Pepper Photography in Rochester, celebrating 31 years this year.
Nice.
I'm blessed. I have a job that I absolutely love. Last year was definitely hard, not capturing all those moments and everything, but we're back and we're going to be great. And it's kind of funny you should say that, heart and soul, because I am a chamber member and we have individual teams, and that is our team name is a Heart and Soul.
love it.
I am on
wow.
that team, so it's kind of gave me goosebumps there, girl. But I love making people happy, just paying it forward. You know, this is stuff we learned in kindergarten. Just be a good human and it'll come back. Pay it forward.
Nice. Craig.
I am a community volunteer. Typically, my volunteer work's geared towards veterans and their families of deployed. And my side gig is I'm a realtor. And it's a fulfilling job. It's fun to be able to help people. And I absolutely love it. So, yeah.
I am in retail, and I have done floral or some kind of work in floral or event promotions for the last, since 1989. It's something that I think you're either born with or not, to be creative, different things like that. I'm also a new grandma, not a new grandma, but another new granddaughter. Anyway, she has a name. She came home from the hospital without a name, and now she has a name that goes with Martha May and McKinley May and Kaya Kay. So, anyways, I'm kind of excited. It's my 8th grandchild, so
Excellent.
I'm a proud
Congratulations.
grandma. So, it goes with being. I call myself a loud, proud patriot. Anything patriot or back the blue, anything like that. I love to be involved with too. So anyways, but here we are. We all have our voice. We all have our passion. Passion is very important with whatever we do. So
Excellent. And I just work hard.
With great hair.
And with great hair. Yes. Let's talk about this show being as it is and as small as it is, and it's a passion. We do have costs, obviously, and I'm not asking for your money, those of you who are watching or listening. But what it does do, it really helps if you watch this next video about hammering the like button and the share button. If you really like it, I know it's hard to speak up, and we do kind of talk about things that are uncomfortable sometimes, but if there's something that you do like, we try to break these up into segments as well. But when you share it, when you comment on it, when you like it, it actually makes a really dramatic difference in the algorithms, and it helps show it to other people, and that's what'll help it grow, and that's what'll help keep it on the air. So we do appreciate that kind of stuff. So hey, watch the video. See you next time.
Hey, a lot of people have asked how they can support the work we're doing here at Matt Logan Speaks. Well, you see this hammer that I got in my hand? It's pretty big. All you have to do is hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bell so that when we have new content up, you're the first to know about it. We really appreciate the comments, shares, likes, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us, because the algorithms on all these fancy computers, that's what they need. We appreciate it. Hey, a lot of people have asked how they can support the work we're doing here at Matt Logan Speaks. Well, you see this hammer that I got in my hand? It's pretty big. All you have to do is hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bell so that when we have new content up, you're the first to know about it. We really appreciate the comments, shares, likes, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us, because the algorithms on all these fancy computers, that's what they need. We appreciate it.